The formation of the United States of America. The United States of America is currently one of the most powerful and wealthiest countries in the world. However, the history of this country began relatively recently, a little over 200 years ago. Let us take a closer look at how this great nation came into existence. In the 17th century, as a result of great geographical discoveries, Europeans began to settle in North America. 13 English colonies were established on the eastern coast of what is now the United States. Over time, their territory expanded, reaching further and further into the continent. These colonies were very important for Great Britain's economy. They were a source of valuable raw materials such as wood and tobacco, and also served as a market for British goods. In the mid-18th century, the colonies were thriving, but conflict between the colonists and the British authorities was growing. The main reasons for the dispute between the colonists and Great Britain were the high taxes the British imposed on goods in the colonies and the restrictions on trade. Colonists could trade only with Great Britain. Despite being taxed, the colonies had no representation in the British Parliament. Feeling unfairly treated by the British authorities, the colonists began organizing protests and boycotting British goods. The most famous event was the so-called Boston Tea Party in the year 1773. A group of colonists, disguised as Indians, boarded British ships in the port of Boston and threw the entire cargo of tea into the sea. This was a protest against the high taxes imposed on this commodity. In the year 1775, the conflict escalated into open war. On the 4th of July in the year 1776, representatives of the colonies signed the Declaration of Independence, proclaiming the creation of a new state, the United States of America. This document stated that all men are created equal and have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. George Washington became the supreme commander of the American forces. Initially, the British achieved success in the war, but the Americans quickly began to organize and train. Other countries wanting to weaken Great Britain's power also joined the war on the side of the Americans. These included France, Spain, and the Netherlands. Their assistance was very important. One of the more important battles of this conflict was the Battle of Saratoga in the year 1777, in which the Americans decisively won. This event convinced France to officially support the colonists in the war. The decisive encounter took place in the year 1781 at Yorktown. Combined American-French forces forced the British Army to surrender there. The war ended in the year 1783 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Under this agreement, Great Britain recognized the independence of the United States of America. After the war ended, the Americans had to organize their new state. In the year 1787, the first modern constitution in the world was adopted. It established a republican system with a separation of powers into the legislative power. Congress, consisting of the Senate and the House of Representatives, the executive power, the president, and the judicial power, independent courts. The Constitution guaranteed citizens many rights, including freedom of speech and religion and personal inviolability. The first president of the United States was George Washington, who served 2 terms. About 100 Poles also participated in the war for the independence of the United States. The most famous were Casimir Pulaski and Thaddeus Kosciuszko. Casimir Pulaski came to America in the year 1777 and formed a cavalry legion. He became known as the father of American cavalry. He saved George Washington's life in the Battle of Brandywine. He died in the year 1779 in the Battle of Savannah. Thaddeus Kosciuszko arrived in America in the year 1776. As a military engineer, he built fortifications, including the fortifications of West Point. After the war, the American Congress appointed him a brigadier general. Both Poles were recognized as national heroes of the United States, and their deeds are remembered to this day. The formation of the United States had enormous significance and changed the face of the entire contemporary world. It was the first instance where colonies successfully fought for independence. The United States became the first modern democracy, inspiring other nations to fight for freedom and civil rights. The United States Constitution became a model to be followed in many other countries. Over time, the United States became a global economic and political power. Today, the United States is a country consisting of 50 states inhabited by over 330 million people. It is one of the most influential countries in the world, playing a key role in global politics and the economy. All this began with the bold decision of 13 colonies that decided to fight for their independence over 200 years ago.
Thank you for being a part of our educational adventure. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new videos.